Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCullum and I'm here today at the James D. Julia Auction House up in Maine, taking a look at some of the guns that they are going to be selling in their fall of 2017 firearms auction. Now, previously we've taken a look at the Astra Model 900, a broom handle Mauser look-alike pistol made in Spain in the 1920s and 30s. Today, however, we're going to be looking at two different versions of the Astra 902. As the name implies, this is in the same family of pistols as the original 900, but Astra went through and they kept improving the guns and trying to make them more desirable. So the 900 was just a basic semi-automatic pistol like the C96 Mauser with a 10-round fixed magazine. The Model 901 was that same gun with a selector switch allowing full auto fire. Of course, it fired at about 900 rounds per minute, which was quite fast. That was introduced in 1928. And it was popular, especially in China, but not so practical. So the next version, the 902, also introduced in 1928 by Astra. By the way, they were nipping at the heels of Bestigui Hermanos in updating these guns, making them machine pistols, increasing the magazine capacity, that sort of thing. Bestigui was another Spanish company that did this before Astra did, but Astra was very close behind. Anyway, the 902 was basically the same pistol, but now, in addition to a selector switch, it also has a fixed 20-round magazine. So you get a little bit more time of firing before the gun's completely empty at 900 rounds a minute. Astra made 1,655 of their Model 901 machine pistols, and then they made 7,075 of the Model 902s. Obviously, the larger magazine was a much more popular gun. Now, after this, they would go on to introduce the 903, which had detachable box magazines, which really does make a lot more practical sense. But the 903 wouldn't come out for a couple years, and so they had some time to make 902s. The 902 is a really imposing, impressive, massive pistol on its own. They're really cool. And virtually all of them were fully automatic. That was kind of the model type. However, they did make about 50 to 75 semi-automatic only Astra 902s, and we actually have one of them here. To put that in context, that's about half as many as there are legitimate 20-shot fixed magazine Mausers. So this is actually a very scarce pistol. It's in magnificent condition, and it also has its original factory box, which is pretty cool to take a look at. Let's start by taking a look at the Select Fire 902, because this is really what the 902 was intended to be. The semi-auto versions are exceptions to the rule. So we have here on the side the selector switch. That selector switch is forward for full auto and backwards for semi-automatic. We then of course have our normal Spanish trifecta of proof marks here. And then on the left side of the gun we have the rest of the markings, the Astra brand name, the patent date, and down here the serial number. And these are of course on this removable side plate. That is one of the features that really did distinguish the Astra from the Mauser C96 mechanically. If we take out the disassembly pin and remove that side plate, you can see this very impressive looking jeweled interior to both the plate and the frame itself. That is no doubt very impressive to potential new customers for the gun. Looking at this extended magazine, it's pretty easy to tell how it was done. You can see right there a nice seam line, and it comes across the front. A little harder to see on the front. But Astra just took the same frames they already had, and they added this extra 10-round extension, put the floor plate back on it, and presto, you now have a 20-round capacity gun. Like on the standard Model 900, we have a rear sight here that's a tangent leaf that goes out to 1,000 meters, which is a bit optimistic, especially in full auto, but well, that's what they put on them all. So one other detail worth pointing out, you can see another little seam right here. Astra did use a separate barrel threaded into their barrel extension, where Mauser had one complete piece of barrel and barrel extension. Astra's method was a little bit more economical, and it also nicely meant that it was easy to replace barrels if you should ever want to down the road. The stock here is actually an Astra 903 stock meant for the pistols with the detachable magazines. They are just slightly shorter than the 902 stocks, and more obviously, the 903s have this big open cutout so that you have a place to put the magazine, and that of course does fit with this guy as well. Slide that right in there. You can close that up. So that's how you would, in theory, carry this. The 902 stocks actually have a leather boot that covers this open space in the magazine. So we'll take a look at that in a moment. The 903 stock is, I think, a little easier to get and makes sense on a machine pistol like this. When they were shipped new from the factory, the 902 actually came in this hard-sided style of case. There are extremely few of these cases left, so it's really cool to be able to see one. And then the gun here is fantastic. You'll note inside of the case, it's actually marked model 900, caliber 7.63 Mauser. That is all of the 902s, virtually all of the 902s were 7.63 Mauser. You could get them in 9mm Largo optionally, but very few people did. And they typically all have the long 180mm barrel. Now, pulling this out, that is the gun in its stock. This is the leather boot that I mentioned covering the extended magazine. And we do have a cleaning rod secured down there in the bottom of the box. In order to access the pistol, there are a pair of snaps on either side of this leather boot that we're going to carefully pop up. And then this flips down, out of the way. Then the button opens up the back of the holster, and you can remove the pistol. This is a later production example. You'll see the serial number is 26,000 and change. So the markings are slightly different. Astra, again, the brand name, the model, the patent date. In this case, they also have a line of, this is Un Sete Compañía out of Guernica, Spain. And, of course, our standard Spanish proof marks there on the other side. That, plus the proof marks up on the barrel and barrel extension, that's it for markings on this. This is, just like the other one, a 902 model. However, of course, it doesn't have a selector here. This is one of the very small handful of 902s that was actually factory built as a semi-automatic only gun for special order. And boy, is it a really nice condition example. One other thing I want to point out while we're looking at these two guns are the stocks. So this is the original matching stock for the 902. This isn't matching because it's a 903 stock, but it is a good example of a factory original correct 903 stock. And we know that the fit and finish and the quality on the pistols is excellent. When it comes to the stock fitting though, it's surprisingly less than excellent. If you take a look at that, you can see the fit of the wood to the metal stock bracket is just really not very good. The same is definitely true up here on the top. You know, this is going to work just fine, but it's really not up to the standard you would expect from looking at the pistols. And yet, this is exactly what Astra produced. Now, I suspect that they outsourced this, but a lot of people, I think, might look at these and assume that these stocks are fake because they just aren't nearly as nice as the pistols that they came with, when the reality is this is how all of Astra's wood fitting on the stock brackets looks. So a little surprising there, and definitely something to be aware of if you're interested in the guns. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the chance to take a look at a pair of Astra 902s. These are really imposing and impressive and pretty cool guns, especially, well, the full auto is really cool for being full auto. The semi-auto is really cool for being such an exquisitely high condition and scarce gun on its own. If you would like to add either one of these to your own firearms collection, well, they are, of course, both coming up for sale here at Julia. Take a look at the description text below, and you'll find links to both of their catalog pages, where you can take a look at Julia's pictures and description and provenance and all that sort of stuff. And you can place bids on one or both through the website, over the phone, or live here at the auction. Thanks for watching.